Hello, welcome back to AV Chess Lab. Let's get another training session in with some more 5-minute games. Let's see who we get as our first opponent. So we have Ajedrez, rated 623 from the US. So we have our standard e4, e5, knight to f3, king's pawn opening. And our opponent goes for a Philidor defense. Now, this opening, unless you're very familiar with, I do not recommend playing, since it does, put your bishops in a very awkward situation behind your pawn chain. But as usual, we're just going to strike in the center with d4, since I don't know what our opponent is doing, and I don't think he knows how to play the Philidor defense, so I'm going to put pressure on his pawn on e5. Okay, so he goes for knight to c6. What to do here? I have an idea. I have a positional idea. We're going to capture this pawn. If he takes with the knight, what I wanted to do was to take here and take his queen, and now he loses the ability to castle himself. And we get a free move with bishop to c4, attacking his pawn on f7. So he has to go back. Or he can put a bishop on e6, and we can capture. Okay, but this is very logical as well. He plays knight to f6, attacking our pawn on e4, putting lots of pressure here. So I can continue with knight to c3, but then bishop b4, pinning my knight is a big problem. So I can go like this, and he simply plays bishop b4, so I don't like that. And at the moment, he is playing quite well, Mr. Ajedrez. Okay, so let's play f3. There are no queens on the board, so we can make small moves like this and not be punished. So a5, let's understand this move. What is our opponent trying to come up with? Is he really going to do this? I dare you, Mr. Ajedrez, I dare you. Well, this is a free pawn. And I love free stuff. a3. Okay, so what is the idea, huh? What is the idea? Let's play bishop here, just so that you have issues developing your dark square bishop. So even if bishop to d6, like what? I don't get it. What is it? Bishop c5? Really? You're gonna let me damage your pawn structure so easily? Huh. Okay. That's what you want. That's what I'll do. I'll damage your pawn structure. Look, so how many pawn islands does black have? 1, 2, 3, 4 pawn islands compared to 1, 2 pawn islands for me. So already I have a huge advantage in this position here. Okay, we're going to castle, and we're going to castle and give a check simultaneously. It's usually a good idea, right? Okay, and since there isn't much to do, and he is kind of preparing to trap this bishop, so I do have to be somewhat careful. Let's play b3. So that if he does challenge me here, I can move it back. But I'm not sure if I want to move it all the way to c4 and allow him to capture his bishop so that he can ruin my pawn structure. Or if I should go bishop to e6 instead. Okay, I like what he's trying to do. He's trying to somehow disrupt my pawns on this side. So let's stop him from doing that. And we have to play a bit quicker since we're losing quite a bit of time. And it would be very bad to lose a game in which we have such a strong grip. I think I'm going to try this move next. Because even if it damages our pawn structure, if he wants to do it by giving us a free pawn, I would not be against that. Now in this situation, he can take, and I feel like I have to take with my rook and challenge the open D file, which is the only open file in this position. And I just realized that by taking here, I'm allowing his bishop to come to f1, which is something I absolutely missed. So because of that, we need to come up with something. And that I'm going to come up with is the idea that his bishop might get trapped down there, since this pawn's protected by my bishop. So let's see. Let's see if we can take advantage of that situation. Obviously, we were threatening to go king to f2, followed by king to g1. But this is also very, very logical on my opponent's part. And the problem is that he can no longer push this pawn any further than he has. So we can take advantage. We can take advantage of that. All right, so we're down to a minute. It is with absolute. Okay, the move just has to lose. We can afford to trade bishops now, and the pawn on h3 will come down. And now it's just easy, right? 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 Okay, I don't know if that was a mouse slip by our opponent or what, but okay, he played well though. I'm not gonna lie. For his 623 rating, he played quite good chess. All right, here we're just going to put him in some zugzwang. So king here, and we simply play pawn there. Now he has to move, and we'll push this pawn forward. And we are going to just march our pawns to the queening squares. Okay, so this looks like it's going to be a win, and we're going to pick up those 11 points that are going to go towards our rating. Not sure what our opponent is thinking about here, but the hard stuff has been done already and is getting to this position itself. Come on, don't let your time run out. Okay. The idea is for him to take, although it does not really matter at all. His king is still going to be trapped down there, and we're just going to come and capture all his pawns since he refuses to resign. So our opponent has 16 seconds, and we can simply come and enjoy taking the pawns. And I'm just going to play around with him a little bit. Okay, so he ran out of time. I'm not even going to look at the game report, although we probably should for the opening moves, not so much the end of it. The end of it, I'm not too worried about if the computer said it was inaccurate. All I worried about is at the beginning, where I thought we made some, missed win, but that missed win and mistakes probably came later. Since I didn't checkmate him like I should. So here, it's funny because this is all like the best up except for this move. Here after this move, he just loses the pawn on f7, and that ultimately cost him the game. Okay, so let's go play a new game. Another 5-minute game. Let's go. And we have Chubsy from the US, 665. And again, e4. Let's see if our opponent, it's there. Looks like we're gonna get this game aborted. Okay, no worries. Game aborted. We'll just play a new game. All right, so we have Conrado Matei from Brazil, rated 704. And again, same stuff, e4, e5, knight f3. And as long as we keep playing, we keep winning with this opening, we're gonna keep playing it. But finally, we get an opponent that seems to know what he's doing. So we were attacking this pawn, and he protected it. So let's keep putting pressure. So here with bishop to b5, we're threatening to take, and then take here. So I like to play the exchange variation here, although keep in mind that knight takes doesn't quite work, because then they have queen to d4 attacking both the knight and the pawn. And after we go back with the knight, they simply take the pawn with check. So instead, we're going to castle. That way, knight takes e5 is a threat now, since after the queen takes on e4, we have rook to e1 pinning his queen. So this is a free pawn that our opponent completely missed. He should know that queen d4 doesn't work now. And here, that seems to be a mistake. Notice the light square weaknesses are on his king. And we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to play a nasty little queen to h5 check here. And the idea was that if we played g6, we were just going to take. And notice now that the queen is hitting the bishop and the knight is hitting the rook. And if pawn takes, we simply take the rook as well. So it looks like this game is not going to last very long either. Unless, of course, my opponent has some kind of brilliant move that we have not seen, but I doubt it. There's only one good way of protecting this knight, and it's just to either play king there or king here. And of course, one that I didn't even mention, bishop to e6, which, to be honest, looks like the best one out of all of them. It keeps the possibility to castle alive, which is very smart. Okay, so pawn forward. I'm not worried about any knight moves, because at the moment the knight can move. But we are up on exchange, and every time I'm up on exchange, I feel happy. Okay, so queen c5 is a move now that my opponent does not want to play. But there's a problem with this move that he just made. That now my queen can easily come out, and it's no longer in that trap situation that it was on h8. So from this moment on, this game should be quite easy to play. Okay, I'm going to play pawn here to prevent his knight from ever coming to that square. And now it's just a matter of making my pieces work together. And I like that we are keeping the times closer. We're not allowing our opponent to take that huge time advantage that he has on previous games. Okay, so knight to d6. He finally decides he needs to come with some threat. And his threat is going to be very simple. He's going to play queen to g7 and attack checkmate. But we have foreseen that, and we're going to prevent it. But honestly, I don't like the way we played so far. We managed to get a huge opening advantage. We went up material, and then our opponent is forcing us to have to make these defensive moves. But okay. It is what we have to do. So here, we're just trying to open the files for my rooks. Now there's some very interesting threats. One of which my opponent completely missed, which is the fact that we're threatening checkmate, and we're also threatening to capture his knight on f7. So it will be very tough for him to save both, and as you can see, he wasn't able to. So let's take a look at the game report real quick to see if there's anything that my opponent could have done better in the opening phase, at least. And we played a pretty good game with one mistake. I wonder where that came. Okay, so all right, up to here everything's normal. Bishop c5 is the mistake because we simply just win a pawn. And after this, you can see another big mistake. And from now on, the game is simply just a matter of time. So normal moves. No big mistakes at the moment. Protect against checkmate and e4. And it's saying that this move was a mistake. Not sure why, considering the fact that we're up by so much, but okay. Maybe it was an inaccurate move, but I wouldn't call it a mistake. But okay, that's what they want to give us. They want to give us a mistake for it. So let's go for another game. I don't think there was much to learn in that one, except the fact that our opponent made a big blunder in the opening. So here we have another Sicilian from Mohammed Bark, rated 767. And this system with knight to c3 just prepares to go about it in a different way with f4, sometimes g3, bishop g2, knight to e2, or even knight to f3 and castle. So those are the kind of setups they want to get when they play like this. And it's more of a close Sicilian than anything else. And if I remember correctly, you play the close Sicilians with g6 and bishop to g7. But here we see that our opponent completely played something else, which leads me to believe he's not familiar with the setups that we were discussing. And now we have a very nice game because we were allowed to place our bishop on g7 in one go. And usually this is called the sole powerful dragon bishop. And this is a free piece, my friend. This is a free piece. So this game should be coming to an end soon. Okay, so bishop c4. We're just going to play queen to a5, continue to put pressure here. Now I can choose to trade everything, but this bishop is so strong, I just don't want to give it away for this knight. But at the same time, it's hard to develop some of these pieces now. So, but okay, with this move, we can play knight to f6 next. So let's see. How should my opponent continue? I gotta say that he does have some ideas with knight to d5, but nothing major. And this just gives me another free piece. Of course, he should have gone pawn to b4 instead. So not sure what my friend Mohammed is thinking about. Maybe I should give him a chance and sacrifice my queen somewhere. But no, why would we do that? So all my opponent has done in this game is give us free material. Very interesting way to play, I guess. So this game is going to have very little analysis, I guess, at the end. There's not much to say. We're up so much. And honestly, I don't have anything to say about his position. I don't even know if the moves I'm making are good, but we're up 3 pieces. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. And we're not stopping anytime soon. Okay, so here, this bishop is not going to move from that square. We'll simply play b5 and pre-move the capture with the threat of checkmate. So takes and a checkmate threat, which my opponent overlooked. Okay, so good game. Like I said, I'm not going to look at the game report for that game. It was a free piece right from the start. So g4. And in case that my opponent decides he wants to move his pawn from the f file, we're going to play this e5 move, threatening a quick checkmate there. If so be it. So since my opponent is going to play like this, we're just going to take full advantage of the center. And of course, he wants us to take there so he can take here. But I'm not going to fall for that, Mr. Crepaldi. Although now he's putting some serious pressure on my pawn on d5. But I have a plan, and my plan involves putting my bishop on g7, castling to the king side. And notice now that because of this advance that he made in his first move, and now castling to that side, this is not going to end up well for him. It's going to be absolutely horrifying to have to defend this position for my young opponent. Okay. So I do not think he should have played that move. I think we get a free pawn out of it. Or do we? Do we get a free pawn out of it? Take, bishop takes, queen check, knight here. And then some rook down there. I can't say that I'm in love with it. So let's castle instead. Forcing him to have to play e3. But I'll tell you what, I thought I was winning a pawn. Otherwise, there's no way that I play the way I did. But now, we are winning a pawn. There's no question about it. We're winning this pawn. This pawn is hanging. It looks like Christmas. So let's see. Let's see what our opponent decides to do with his queen on b3. I honestly don't have very high hopes for it. We're going to take another pawn. Now we're threatening to take this one. We're also threatening to go bishop here and followed by knight to c2. But that's just a free queen, buddy. So I'm expecting a resignation right about now. And our opponent is going to do it in a different way. He's going to, I believe, give us all his pieces. Okay, this is a check. And we're going to follow that with taking this pawn as well. And we're just going to retreat. All right, so obviously here we just have to make moves from now on to the end of the game. We're up a queen, so it should not be too hard to accomplish. I just have to trade some extra pieces, and that way his protection around his king comes down a bit. Okay, so he's just giving us free material at the moment. And I think he's given up on this game, which is quite understandable. Okay, so he finally resigns. We're not going to take a look at this one either. Let's go for it. Oh, I hit analysis by mistake. All right, well, since we got there, let's see. Let's see if we played the right way. Yes, the best move, good move, best move, and a blunder. And a blunder was some inaccurate moves by both of us. It's saying that pushing forward, what's better? I agree. I agree with that assessment. Best, and saying that taking the pawn should have been done. I think the idea is this. We take this pawn, we don't really care that we're losing this one, since now his king position is a bit weakened. But okay, I think we don't have to calculate anything more after that. So let's take a quick, let's play another quick game instead. All right, so what do we have here? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. E4, E5, knight to F3. Knight to C6, and I like to play the Run Lopez opening. Okay, so this is a little bit more solid, but it does give white a lot of initiative. Okay, I like to play like this. So I quite like my position already. And now I think that move was an inaccuracy, since we can easily win a pawn now. Queen takes queen, followed by knight takes on e5. And obviously rook take should have been the move. Now we're threatening knight f7 and knight takes c6. So he should play, I'm expecting bishop to e8 to be played here. And that would be this move. Otherwise, I think we're doing quite well. If he doesn't go for bishop there. Okay, so that's just a big blunder. We're able to take on f7 with check. Now we can go after his rook on h8. I'm not too worried about this. I'm up a rook. Okay, let's throw in a check and ask the king where he wants to go. And since he went there, we can take our knight out. Maybe we could have thrown in another check here in the meantime. But it doesn't matter. When you're up a rook, you can make all kinds of concessions. And now there's some nasty discovery attacks if we move our knight out of the way. So he needs to be mindful of that. I like that in the last few games, we've taken very good care of our time. Okay, here we're gonna go for some trades, which, like I've said before, when you're up material, is usually a good idea to do so. And we're gonna start with this one, which is going to force him to trade down here. And now this is over now. We're just gonna bring our king to the center of the board. And there's not a lot he can do about his bishop situation. Okay, I don't even know what to do. Put a pawn there. And then I'm gonna follow that up with rook here. Followed by king here. That way we are threatening checkmate. So his only way to prevent that is by sacrificing his bishop on e4. And we will take it if he does so. Okay, so good game, Mr. Fly GC from Spain. All right, so checkmate here. I think this game is worthy of a report. Let's see if instead of a6 in the opening where he could have played better. And of course, I like that there are no inaccuracies, mistakes, or blunders. It's been a while since that happened. So let's take a quick look at the analysis. And this is all book stuff except for a6. And of course, like I said, after a6, it's a mistake because you simply lose a pawn. But as you can see, this position is much easier to play with the white pieces. You know exactly what you want to do. You want to bring this bishop out, you want to castle, you want to bring this queen to either d2 or d3. It's just a lot easier to come up with moves, and you have more of a space advantage as well. Okay, so a6 was the major mistake. So let's move on to yet another game. Let's get this one. So we're playing too thick with a rating of 673. All right, so again, and here we have the Petrov defense. Let's see if this guy knows how to play. Well, he doesn't know how to play it. At least he didn't fall for the knight takes e4, which loses on the spot. Here, we're just up a pawn. So it's not a major mistake, but a pawn is a pawn. So let's see now. What do you have in mind? Are you gonna take out your bishop? Let's go for it. Are you gonna attack my knight with your bishop? I welcome that. Are you gonna take this other bishop out? Also a possibility. Okay, so he finally decided to go for that one. Okay. I'm going to play d3 here. I'm going to play rock solid, considering I am up a pawn, but I missed this move. Very surprisingly, I missed that move. And it's a very nice one, actually. Very good move by my opponent. I am forced to have to give this back. Luckily for us, we still have the initiative. But not something I wanted to do. Not something I wanted to do. And now he's attacking us. Now he's attacking us, and I am scared in some way. Okay, I'm not scared, but we do have to prevent some moves. He had this huge threat of coming to g4, in which I was going to be losing my queen. And now I'm sort of baiting him to play this move so that I can bring my king out to f2. But he's playing well. He's playing well, and his position is very nice. And I missed that he can go f5. It's a game of misses by me, I guess. Lots of misses, but this is a miss by him. Now he allows me to play this move, and if he goes to d6 trying to get here, I'm simply going to play e5. Okay, so this move is logical, but now that I've gotten this structure, I'm one move away from putting my king in a very nice safety net behind my own pawns. So at the moment, the position looks even. I survived the worst, and he should probably go for queen h4 check. But okay, instead he goes for a quick attack of my pawn on a2, which I have to move forward and protect. Okay, so we're finally castled. We're finally castled, and we're up 30 seconds on the clock. So we just have to come up with an idea. We need a good idea here. How can we keep putting pressure? It's not so clear. It's not so clear, and our opponent has shown that he knows how to play. He might be the strongest 600 rated player in the world, believe it or not, by the way he's playing. And that is a big compliment. Every time you can be the best at something, that's a good thing. Okay, I do not want to trade queens, but at the same time, I do believe it will make my game much easier to play. So let's go for it. It also has the added advantage that I'm putting pressure on c7. And my opponent wants no trades. He wants to take this pawn. This guy means business. This guy means business, people. Okay, so I'm very, very afraid, I guess, to take, because he's just going to take this one. But at the moment, I don't see how to prevent that. I don't see it. Okay, he probably shouldn't have played this either. We're gonna have to go for this. We're gonna have to play this position. I gotta tell you, man, this guy's playing good. This guy's playing some real chess. And I mean it. He's playing some awesome moves. Rook c8 now. I'm just going to play rook a8. And if I can get that rook out of the game, then I feel that we're doing very okay. I'm gonna play rook there anyway, so let's see what he comes up with. Okay, so bishop to c4. Another strong move, very strong move. Okay, we don't have time to dwell on this guy's brilliancy. So after everything he's done, he's going to play like this. Now we get to trade. Now we get to trade, and we're just going to be up 8 pawn. Ah, no. This is not the way to finish. Very sad that the game finished like this. My opponent was doing an incredible job, and well, sometimes the pressure just gets to you. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, this guy played very accurate chess, 53.5%, and I didn't play so accurate and actually made 3 mistakes and a miss win. So let's go. Let's go to the analysis and take a look. So up to here, everything looked good. Bishop there, but this was a big mistake, and the mistake, it was a mistake because of knight g4. So, and we should have prevented that with h3. So after this move, obviously, we have no chances, and he's actually doing quite good in this position. And the move that I played was a mistake as well. And look at this. He's just completely winning. So what was he blundered? And he should have gone for bishop to c1. That move is incredible. I mean, had he found that move, I would have been like, what? So what's the idea here, huh? The idea is that if I take, he simply just takes my rook, obviously. The other idea is that this is checkmate. So I have to do something about that. And the minute that I do, for example, some bishop here, he simply just captures my rook, my pawn, and I'm going to lose one of these two pieces. So tough for my opponent. He had a win. Now we cannot end this session with that game. That game was a complete disaster. So we gotta finish on a good note. So let's play a good game. Let's play a good game against a friend from Colombia. FGFJ Conta. So far, this has been working beautifully. This e4, e5, knight f3. And today we've been taking on the Run Lopez. So let's see what my opponent decides. Maybe he'll go for the main line, which is a6. Bishop c5 is also another main line. Okay, so far he's playing very good chess, and he's just developing his pieces. But here we have an opportunity to take a free pawn with bishop takes e6, followed by knight takes on e5. So again, now that we're completely winning, it's only a matter of finishing this game in a good way. Okay, so this is obviously a very strong move, d5. But I think we have everything under control. He's gonna have a lot of pressure, I tell you, lots of pressure. I have to play this move, unfortunately. Otherwise, it will be kind of difficult to bring out my knight, and he was gonna have too much counterplay. So at least here we keep our pawn, and we keep the initiative. So now we're attacking. We'll be able to trade for one of his bishops. The only drawback is it's going to be opposite color bishops. So he does have some chances to defend in the endgame if all the pieces are taken off the board. Okay, so queen to f5. We'll simply take the bishop off. And now what to play? He's just going to do some crazy stuff like this. And I don't know if I should allow that, to be honest. But I don't think I could prevent it in any good way. So let's play this move. Let's play this move, and already he is making some very questionable choices. Now this pawn is going to be weak. So queen takes c2 is no longer an option. So what now? Okay, let's continue. Let's continue with the attack on his king, since he decided he wanted to push the pawns in front of his king. And if that's the case, then he needs to get punished for it. Okay, we'll simply take. Here we'll take. So we're up 2 pawns, and now we're going to be up the exchange as well. So we'll take here. He's going to play bishop b7. And we're simply not going to care. Okay, so his rook is stuck. So now we are able to take everything. Okay, so our opponent was doing quite well for a while, and then came the mistake with g5. And when we take a look at the game report, we're going to understand why. You just should never move the pawns in front of your king. It's not a good idea. That's why we castle in the first place. That is the main reason why we castle, so that we are protected by the pawns. So of course, this position is obviously quite easy to play. And it will become even easier if we can simplify it the way we have here. So this check, and that check was probably inaccurate to say the least. I can't believe I did that actually. Okay, we have time for this move, since that doesn't work because of rook here. But otherwise, it was a big blow to play g4. Okay, but now it's over. Now it is over. But my opponent insists. And why not? He should, of course. But we're up too many pawns, unfortunately. Unfortunately for our opponent, this is way too many pawns. Okay, so he's obviously very desperate, and he wanted to bring some rook back here to threaten checkmate. But that's not gonna work today. And just pawn forward. He's going to have to give us his rook for the pawn. Okay. And in this case, it's even worse. All right. Not a bad game, but not the best either. We're playing very sloppy chess. And we should probably rectify that by doing some tactics. So everybody, go do your tactics. Just so that you don't play chess the way I did in this match. In this last few games that I played. But okay, Thanks for watching. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more of them, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, stay safe and always show respect to your opponents. See you next time.